Hi dear students, welcome to the next video. Today we will be talking about muscles of upper limb. If you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe so that you don't miss videos. So let's start with the upper limb. So upper limb consists of the pectoral region, arm, forearm, hand. So let's see the pectoral region. It lies in front of the chest and essentially consists of the structures which connect the upper limb to the anterolateral chest wall. So whatever structures are there that connecting the upper limb to the anterolateral chest wall. So there are a lot of structures, includes muscles, nerves, vessels. So everything we'll be considering in this area. Now as usual, like other part of the body, skin will be there in the pectoral region. After removing the skin, superficial fascia. Superficial fascia of the pectoral region is visualized after the skin has been incised. So superficial fascia can be seen. Superficial fascia. And in the superficial fascia, mammary gland is also visible. Some of the muscles are also seen in the superficial fascia. So it contains moderate amount of fat. Obviously fat will be there in the superficial fascia. Mammary gland, which is well developed in females, is the most important of all the contents of this fascia. So mammary gland is considered as one of the most important structures in the superficial fascia. And I said some muscles in the superficial fascia, which you may think it is unusual because we have seen that muscles are usually placed deep to deep fascia, but here this muscle is placed in the superficial fascia, that is platysma. So platysma is a broad muscle, thin muscle placed in the superficial fascia, which is attached to the skin of the pectoral region and goes up to the mandible, up to the angle of the mouth. Medial, intermediate and lateral supraclavicular nerves are branches of cervical plexus. So in the superficial fascia, we will see some cutaneous nerves. These nerves are supraclavicular nerves. They are seen in this area. It is not seen in this diagram, but they are supposed to be present in this area. They are medial, intermediate and lateral supraclavicular nerves. These nerves may pierce the clavicle and it supplies the pectoral region. You might have studied clavicle. When you studied the clavicle, the peculiarities of the clavicle, there it is mentioned that the clavicle is pierced by some nerves, and these are the nerves which we are talking about. They supply the skin over the upper half of deltoid. Deltoid is this muscle. So this region is supplied from the clavicle down to second rib. Also from the clavicle up to the second rib. Ribs are placed. Here you can see that ribs. So up to this area, supraclavicular nerves are supplying. So they are cutaneous nerves. Anterior and lateral cutaneous nerves are branches of second to sixth intercostal nerves, supply the skin below the level of second rib. Now up to the level of second rib, we have seen that it is supplied by the supraclavicular nerves. What about below that area? That is supplied by second to sixth intercostal nerves. Intercostal nerves are seen in the intercostal space. Intercostal spaces are between the ribs. So they are placed in the intercostal space, intercostal nerves. So they are going to supply the area below the second rib. Now intercostal nerves have anterior branch, which can be seen here, and lateral branches. Now platysma. I said platysma is a muscle that is seen in the superficial fascia. Thin broad sheet of subcutaneous muscle. So remember, it is subcutaneous muscle. It is present in the superficial fascia just deep to the skin. The fibers of the muscle arises from the deep fascia covering the pectoralis major. This muscle here is a pectoralis major, and run upwards and medially and are inserted into the base of the mandible. This is the base of the mandible, and to the skin over the posterior and lower part of the face. It also arises from the deltoid region as well. Deltoid muscle. This area is deltoid muscle, right? This one. So it is arising from that area also. Anyway. Deep pectoral fascia. So we have seen the skin superficial fascia. When we remove the superficial fascia, the next structure, that is deep fascia, and deep fascia over the pectoralis major muscle. This is pectoralis major muscle, and that is called deep pectoral fascia. So after removing the superficial fascia, which looks yellow in color, the hazy appearance here, that is the deep pectoral fascia that can be seen. Deep fascia covering the pectoralis major muscle is called pectoral fascia, as I explained just now. It is attached superiorly to the clavicle and anteriorly to the sternum. Supralaterally becomes continuous with fascia covering deltoid. The muscle which is related to the pectoralis major laterally is deltoid. So the fascia covering the pectoralis major also extends over to the deltoid muscle as deltoid fascia. Infralaterally becomes continuous with axillary fascia. Infralaterally, it is going to continue as a fascia in the axilla. So axilla is also called the armpit. So there the fascia continues as axillary fascia. Let's see muscles of this region. Pectoralis major. Pectoralis minor is a small muscle which is deep to pectoralis major. If you cut the pectoralis major, this muscle is pectoralis minor, a small muscle compared to pectoralis major. Subclavius is a small muscle that can be seen just below the clavicle, small muscle. Pectoralis major, broad muscle in this area, originating from clavicular head. It has got different heads because it is originating from different area. So clavicle, so the origin of the pectoralis major from the clavicle, that is called the clavicular head, which is originating from anterior surface of medial half of the clavicle. Sternocostal head, originating from the sternum and also from the costal cartilages. Costal cartilages are seen on the anterior aspect of the ribs. So it is originating from that area. These are the areas where the costal cartilages are present. Half of anterior surface of manubrium and sternum up to 6th costal cartilages, to here, this area, whole of this area, manubrium and the body of the sternum. 2nd to 6th costal cartilages, 2nd to 6th costal cartilages, which are placed deeper in this area. Muscle can be seen: clavicular head, sternocostal head. Now, some of the muscle fibers can originate from the lower aspect. Those fibers, they are originating from, or they are blending with another muscle here, external oblique muscle. External oblique muscle of abdomen is coming in this area, so that may blend with the lower aspect of pectoralis major. Okay, that muscle is called external oblique muscle of the abdomen. So that muscle may blend with this muscle sometimes. Insertion to the lateral lip of bicipital groove. So bicipital groove is placed in the humerus, so it is inserted to the lateral lip. Pectoralis major insertion. Some part is cut here, but you can see the insertion point. This is lateral lip, medial lip of bicipital groove. Nerve which supplies the muscle is medial and lateral pectoral nerves. Medial pectoral nerve, lateral pectoral nerve. Medial pectoral nerve is a branch of the medial cord, of the brachial plexus. Lateral pectoral nerve is a branch of lateral cord of brachial plexus. Actions: acting as a whole, the muscle when it is acting as a whole, that means all the fibers when it is acting, it causes adduction, medial rotation of the shoulder. Whereas a single part, clavicular part, when it is acting, it causes flexion of the arm. Sternocostal part acting separately causes extension of the flexed arm against resistance, climbing. Now let's see a fascia which is placed below the pectoralis major, in front of or superficial to pectoralis minor, or covering the pectoralis minor. That is called clavipectoral fascia. So here pectoralis major is cut and a hazy appearance here, that is because of the fascia, clavipectoral fascia, and muscle can be seen pectoralis minor. Clavipectoral fascia is pierced by some structures in this area that can be seen. Again, a close view of the clavipectoral fascia after cutting the pectoralis major can be seen. It's a fibrous sheet deep to clavicular part of pectoralis major. So it is concentrated onto the clavicular part of deep to clavicular part of pectoralis major. So pectoralis major is a big muscle having clavicular part, sternocostal part. So clavicular part deep to that fascia, that is clavipectoral fascia, extending from clavicle above, axilla fascia, axillary fascia below. A fascia that is seen in the axilla, in the armpit, called axillary fascia. So extent is this much. Medially, fascia is attached to the first rib, on the medial aspect attached to the first rib and to the costoclavicular ligament. Costoclavicular ligament is a small ligament which is connecting the costal cartilage to the clavicle. Costoclavicular ligament. These ligaments are costoclavicular ligament connecting the costal cartilage to the clavicle. So medially it is attached to the first rib and also costoclavicular ligament. Whereas laterally it is attached to the coracoid process. Laterally goes to the coracoid process. This is coracoid process where the pectoralis minor is inserted. This area, coracoid process of the scapula, and blends with coracoclavicular ligament. So there is a ligament in this area called coracoclavicular ligament connecting coracoid process to the clavicle. So it is blending with that ligament. A close view of the clavipectoral fascia deep to clavicular head of pectoralis major. Major muscle is cut. Deltoid muscle can be seen nicely, and the other end of the pectoralis major, here the proximal end, and some structures can be seen piercing clavipectoral fascia in this area. Clavipectoral fascia is pierced by lateral pectoral nerve, cephalic vein, thoracoacromial vessels, lymphatic channels which cannot be seen in the diagram. So lateral pectoral nerve is a structure that is coming from the deeper aspect to the superficial aspect, and it's a branch of lateral cord of brachial plexus. Cephalic vein is a vein that is draining the upper limb that passes from superficial to the deeper aspect. Thoracoacromial vessels, they are the branches of axillary artery which comes from deep to superficial. Lymphatics, that moves again from superficial to the deeper aspect. Let's see the next muscle, pectoralis minor. Pectoralis minor, originating from 3, 4, 5 ribs near the costochondral junction. Costochondral junction is the junction between the ribs and the costal cartilage. Insertion to the medial border and upper surface of coracoid process. So there is a diagram to show the muscles. Pectoralis minor pectoralis major. Medial pectoral nerve, lateral pectoral nerve can be seen. Nerve supply, medial and lateral pectoral nerves supplying pectoralis minor. Now this plexus that you can see here in this area are called brachial plexus. Actions: drawing the scapula forward with serratus anterior, depressing the point of the shoulder, that is next action, helps in forced inspiration. The next muscle here is subclavius. I said subclavius is a small muscle which is placed just below the clavicle. Subclavius muscle. Origin: first rib at costochondral junction. So originating from the first rib, costochondral junction. Insertion to subclavian groove. Subclavian groove is placed in the clavicle. On the inferior aspect of the clavicle, there is a groove called subclavian groove where subclavius muscle is inserted. Nerve supply: nerve to subclavius. Nerve to subclavius is a small nerve. Here, this one. Again, it is coming from the brachial plexus. Action: it steadies the clavicle during movements of shoulder. So when the shoulder is moving, the clavicle has to be supported, stable. So subclavius is doing that. The next muscle here is serratus anterior. So look at the serratus anterior muscle here. It has a serrated appearance. Serrated appearance. Saw-tooth appearance. Saw-tooth appearance. That is why it is called serratus. Serratus means saw-tooth appearance, serrated appearance. It is not strictly a muscle of pectoral region, but it is convenient to consider it here. Origin. Let's see the origin. Serratus anterior muscle arises by 8 digitations from upper 8 ribs and from the fascia which is covering intervening intercostal muscles. Intercostal muscles are seen between the ribs, or they are seen in the intercostal spaces. So there is a fascia covering it. Serratus anterior originating from the fascia covering the intercostal muscle and also the ribs. Insertion. Insertion can be seen to the scapula. Costal surface of scapula along the medial border. So anterior surface of the scapula, anterior surface, not the posterior, anterior surface on the medial border of the scapula. Medial border, anterior surface. Nerve supply. Nerve can be seen. Long thoracic nerve. Again, it is coming from the brachial plexus, long thoracic nerve. Actions. Along with pectoralis minor muscle. So this muscle we are talking about is serratus anterior. Muscle pulls the scapula forwards around the chest wall to protract the upper limb in pushing and punching movements. So when you push and punch, that movements, you can see the scapula is protracting. Scapula glides over the chest or the ribs and comes a little bit anteriorly, and that's called protraction. So serratus anterior helps for the protraction. Now this condition is called winging of scapula, where you can clearly see that the right side has some anomalies, where the medial border of the scapula is very prominent. Even the inferior angle is also prominent. This happens when there is an injury to the long thoracic nerve. Long thoracic nerve is also called nerve to bell. Now this nerve is supplying the serratus anterior. Now when the muscle is paralyzed, the medial margin of the scapula get raised, especially when pushing and punching movements are done. Now this topic, axilla and the brachial plexus, will be taken very soon.